Hold on just a second. I think we're having some audio issues for some reason. Hold on just a moment. Let me try to figure that out. Nope, I just no, I can hear you, but okay, well that is strange. Okay. Let's see. I have no. It's a new platform. I think this is what happens when you get a new platform. It's showing that the sound is coming through. I think this is what happens when you get a new platform. Yeah. Okay, it's showing so that the sound is coming through. Wow, if I didn't. I think this is what happened. There we go. Can we test it?
Bill did.
Oh, he did? Wow.
Wait, did you just say Bill Redpath won treasurer?
Okay, there it is.
57% of the vote. Okay, so we're good now. So I'm thinking that no one could hear me this entire time. So I'm going to do a little bit of a recap. And I'm not going to accidentally say libertarian this time, because I did that on the first time. But
no, just so on purpose.
What happened is I didn't realize it, but for some reason the default settings for collaboration cameras is to mute you, and you just have the video. So I turned off the mute. We can hear everything now.
Okay, so we're working out some issues here, but again, John Hudak, Jeremy Kantorowicz, Archie Flower, faithful tech guy. We're bringing you a convention live stream today. So we're just going to be our Libertarian Party convention, in case anyone doesn't know. We're just going to be going over some updates on what's going on, provide some commentary, maybe talk about Tom Woods a bit like we always do. Probably won't, but I always got to throw that in there. But yesterday, to recap a little bit, Angela McArdle won the Libertarian Party chair position. She won re-election against Mark Rutherford. I think she had something like 53% of the vote. She won on the second ballot. So after that happened, I pretty much figured that this was going to be a clean Mises sweep just across the board. But we've been getting in some results in the last 10, I said 5 to 10 minutes before, so I'm going to say 10 to 15 minutes now. And we have we have results for vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. For vice chair, Mark Rutherford, who is not a Mises guy, he was actually the one who ran for chair against Angela. He just won the vice chair position. So it's good that we don't have the Colorado LP chair in there, the crazy one who was going off about being angry about sanctuary cities or whatever. I would definitely rather have, we'll talk about whether it even matters, but if I had a choice, I would definitely rather have Rutherford in there. As far as the secretary position goes, we've ensured that we have another 2 years of extensive mental illness, given Karen Ann Harlos's victory today. And as far as treasurer goes, I was actually kind of surprised at this result. Bill Redpath, who is a longtime party activist, not a Mises guy, apparently just won with 57% of the vote. So as far as the officers go, it's actually a split down the middle of 2 Mises and 2 non-Mises. Now, they do seem to have more region reps from what I've gathered on the LNC. But we're still waiting on the at-larges right now, the at-large representatives to the Libertarian National Committee. I think they're frantically trying to vote right now, is my guess, because the business has gone insanely slow. I mean, it always is. It always can be pretty bad, but this is probably the worst I've seen it in my time watching Libertarian National Conventions. And I believe I've heard that they have a 7 p.m. Cutoff for when they need to be out of the convention. So I don't know if that's going to be extended or what's going on. As far as the presidential nomination goes, let me just check to see if we have anything. No, I don't think we do. Oh, my stream's paused anyway. As far as the presidential nomination goes, we've gone through 3 ballots now. In each of them, Michael Rechtenwald has been the #1 vote getter. I believe Chase Oliver has been the #2 vote getter in all of them.
Yep.
But Rechtenwald's been pretty solidly ahead. The thing is, though, that there's likely a pretty low, well, hopefully, a pretty low cap on Rechtenwald's support. Because for anyone who's not familiar with the Libertarian National Convention, you need to get greater than 50% to win, and they will keep going ballot after ballot. Usually they drop off the lowest vote getter. Sometimes they drop off anyone who gets below 5%. I know they change the rules around sometimes, but they at least drop off the lowest vote getter in every ballot. So they'll just keep going until it's down to those final 2.
Oh, and also, John, Gregory Koch just donated $6.66 with "Pink Rabies is loser" as the message.
I appreciate that, Gregory. That's going to go towards paying for this monthly stream, and we're going to try to get some more podcasts going. I see that Gregory said, what time is the hard stop? I've been told it's 7, but I don't know if that's negotiable, because I remember a few years ago there was a hard stop and then they paid to extend it. As far as, so we've been doing the presidential ballots, and I feel like, since I haven't been watching these past 20 minutes, I imagine they're going to figure out some way to at least get the presidential nomination done. If they don't, that I don't know, because I know in a scenario where the Libertarian National Committee officers aren't elected, then I know that I believe the region reps that are already elected to the LNC are the ones who choose the officers. But I don't know as far as the actual presidential candidate goes. As far as the vice presidential candidate, generally they do not start voting on or even taking nominations for the vice presidential candidacy until the presidential candidate is picked, because a lot of the time people who lost the presidential race will try to run for vice president. I would think it could, and obviously I would imagine this would be a bylaw change that would have to be voted on. But I would think it would make sense, at least from a time-saving standpoint, to try to have the presidential candidate just pick their vice presidential candidate. I feel like that's what they should do anyway. But I guess we'll see what happens there. So, give me 1 second. I'm getting a message from a special guest who apparently wants to come on. So give me 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead and send him the link, and I'll add them in.
Okay.
Is this a guest we've had before?
It is.
So it's not the guy that was like masking his voice and what was that guy's name?
Ted.
That was Ted.
Right.
Let's see here. So I just sent him, because I got a message saying stream me in. I just sent him the link, so we'll wait on that. Let's see what's going on.
And I'll let you know if we get anything.
I'm going to just say this too about this convention. Every other consideration aside, about Mr. Watkins, and I don't like him because he's Mises, but he just doesn't have anywhere near the vibe Alex Merced had. Like, we're talking
gosh, I remember
versus...
how absolutely disheveled he looked though after. Was that Orlando?
Yeah, it was.
When he just
And
day
he looked
one
disheveled,
compared
but
to
he laid it down.
Oh.
So I'm in some chats about some possible things going on. And it sounds like that at least this is what I'm getting from, I'm inferring this from what I'm being told about some possible strategy here. It sounds like the LNC might choose the presidential candidate if we finish business without a presidential candidate being picked.
Yep, the bylaws allow that.
Okay. So they'll just get to pick their pets.
And we all know who that would be.
It all comes down to the at-larges then, I guess.
Can we talk about Rechtenwald's little slip-up from yesterday?
I haven't seen it. I've only heard of it.
Okay.
I've watched a couple bits of it. I was busy, didn't get to watch the whole thing, but everything I saw, dude was absolute wreck. Absolute wreck. And no, a weed gummy does not do that.
Yeah, his story is that he took a weed gummy. It sounds like at some point, I don't know, during the Trump speech, maybe right after. I'm not sure, but at some time before speaking after the Trump speech, because he didn't think he was going to be speaking. After the Trump speech, he kind of just rambled a little bit and then said he didn't want to be part of a Trump roast and then just kind of walked away because it was him, Chase Oliver, and Mike Trematte who were talking. Oh, we have our special guest here.
Joe, happy birthday.
Oh.
Joe, can you hear us all right?
Oh, yeah, let me add Joe to the show real quick.
Oh, he's backstage.
I love this. I'm so glad Joe is here. Hello, Joe. You're on the stream now.
And Ulysses and Adam Reinhardt.
Hello,
hey, Adam.
Hello.
Hi, Ulysses.
Dead air.
All right, everyone. So we have Joe Bishop Henchman, the former chairman of the Libertarian Party, with us here. So, Joe, what happens? Do you know what happens if they don't pick a vice presidential candidate before convention ends, or how that works?
I don't remember. I imagine the LNC has some powers to appoint. Obviously, the regionals can elect their people whenever for their regional representatives on the LNC. And if they have a quorum, they can fill the vacancies in the at-large. So, I get things are moving very slowly today. I don't know whether that's incompetence in the vote counting systems or just everybody wanting to delay everything. But, they still have to they still haven't picked a president, I don't think. And there's still the vice presidential nomination and the at-larges and the bylaws and the platform. And it's 6:42 p.m. Washington time. So,
yeah, it seems
I think there's going to be some vacancies.
It seems to be moving even like way slower than I'm used to. I mean, usually things kind of trudge along a bit, but this is something right here.
Yeah, I know. The balance.
So many things I've kept quiet about it the last couple of years, but like one of them, I mean, things that don't matter, but one of them is, we had sorted out a Scantron system to be used for the 2020 convention, so that we could do these ballots in 15 or 20 minutes, not hours and hours. And the pandemic screwed everything up, which is why we didn't end up using it. But no, it was good to go. I mean, it was me and Ken and Dan Hayes, who, the three of us don't agree on much, but we sorted out and figured out how we were going to do it. Making sure privacy was protected and accuracy was going to be there. Because, I did the math. if you just did a roll call vote of 900 people, I think you could get that done faster than it's taking these.
You're right.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's just painful. You have to wait like an hour or something for these votes to come in. It doesn't really make any sense.
And it shows that we're not at the cutting edge of things.
we had Donald Trump speaking. That's cutting edge, right?
Well, and then there's all that too. So 3 weeks ago or so, when that was announced, through an intermediary, reached out to his team and was like, "I hope he's going to be booed for an hour." And they're like, "No. The chairs promised us everything's going to be fine." And she even said they're probably going to nominate him. And I was like, she's lying to you. And they're like, our team knows what it's doing. And so I left it at that. But because, in DC, we all interact with each other. So they didn't ask for my advice. I gave it to them anyways. But he looked mad. He went from orange to red pretty fast.
Yeah, there was definitely a color change, and then his snapping of what was it, twice? Oh, you're going to get 3%.
Well, he only got 6 out of 900, so that's less than 3% today, I think, right?
So, Joe, what are your thoughts on the convention in general so far? I know that's kind of
somebody just messaged me that I guess the next officer slate is going to be Angela and what's her name with the pink hair? I forget her name. And then on one side, and then Mark Rutherford, who's extraordinarily competent and done a lot of great work in Indiana over the years, and Bill Redpath, who has single-handedly saved our ballot access, more years than I've been alive. More than years I've been alive. So that's kind of a 2-2 split for the officers there. When I was chair, we also had a 2-2 split. We had Ken and what's her name with on one side and me and Tim on the other. But so it all come down to the rest of the committee to figure out how to do it. But Adam was just asking, kind of, you have this marginal delegate who is voting for Angela and Karen Ann and Bill and Mark. So what's going through the mind? Well, I mean, I'll let you say what you just said.
I'm not going to say exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
I don't understand the logic. How do you look at gross incompetence and say yes, and then also be like, oh, but as a pity consolation, I'm going to give 2 slots to my political enemies. I don't understand the logic there.
Yeah, and just the fact that it's possible that we could have an Angela McArdle being chair and Chase Oliver possibly being the presidential candidate. Yeah. It makes absolutely no sense.
Well, Heist stuffed all the state conventions and busted in, I guess, 100 people this morning to replace people that weren't following the whips. So
I've heard, yeah.
So, they're going to do this by hook or by crook. And that's what it all comes down to. I mean, the system of selecting delegates has always been vulnerable to takeovers like this, where, I mean, you can be an activist who does a lot of great things, but all that matters is who gets more people to show up on the one state convention day to control everything.
Exactly. Do you think, Joe, these results we have today make the Libertarian Party any more possible to recover or any more viable, or do you think that ship has kind of sailed?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody's surprised that my view of it is the battle was fought and lost in 2020 and 2021.
And that's a fair
Not everybody agreed with that. A lot of people waited until Reno and then decided that was where it was fought and lost. Obviously, some people are still there fighting and hoping that it prevails. And obviously, there's been a lot of damage done, and it's hard to say how recoverable it is after that point, but a lot of stuff has been lost. A lot of institutional memory has been lost. The staff is all gone. The donors are, the large donors are all gone. The small donors there's a lot fewer of them. We added it up because I had 20,000 members when I was chair, and they're down to, I think it's just under 13,000 now. And 2,000 all left within a month or two of me being forced out, and then another 5,000 after Reno. It's at one point I think the pace was like, by the end of the year it'll be somebody's got to turn the lights out kind of pace of loss. Obviously that'll slacken as you get down to people that have their credit card on auto renew or whatever. But it's a tough situation, and there's just a conflict of visions. Andy Craig has a very good piece out today on this. It's a conflict of visions. There's people who subscribe to the the Hayekian Friedmanite actual Mises view of smaller government and a cosmopolitan embrace of institutions and rule of law, and then people who are just anti-government and are willing to get into bed with some of the scariest people in our society who are also anti-government. I don't think you can make a coalition between those two views work. But obviously a lot of people still think that you can.
Yeah. No, I get you there. We're still waiting on the crypto whales to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they did definitely, they're the financial position that they were in just a few months ago, or even just a month ago, was, everything just looks pretty dismal. They definitely pulled the Spirit Airlines with the convention to try to pump in some cash.
Yeah, and I mean they're so proud of we had $180,000 day or whatever. Anybody that works in politics, $180,000. I guess that's a good haul for a House candidate.
Yeah,
it's a great haul for a local candidate, certainly. But
I hear they're already spending it.
Yeah, for
before the convention expenses are paid, they're already spending on other things. Expenses. That's what I've been told.
But for national politics, it's a drop in the bucket. When I was chair, we had 1 month where we were below 150,000 for the month, and I treated it like we had just struck an iceberg. It was all hands on deck to diagnose why that happened. What do we need to do to fix it? What do we need to do to make up for it this coming month and everything? With this group of clowns, I don't think they've had 1 month where they exceeded 150. Maybe they had one or two, but it's been half that, less than half that.
Yeah, they've been well under 100 in a lot of the months.
Yeah, and it was a shoestring when we were putting it. We had a lot of great people who were making way less than they should have been making, but because they cared, they did it. And it also meant we couldn't do a lot of the things that we wanted to do. And, they've gotten rid of a lot of that stuff in order to not go deeper into the red. No candidate training. No, I'm just ranting now. So,
right. Well, that's the thing is they have just dismantled so much of the infrastructure. In the last 2 years, it's just, how do you even recover from that?
Yeah, people ask. It's been so bad that I think a lot of people, I don't know whether it's a joke or they actually believe it, but maybe it was all deliberate to destroy the party. That's how bad it was. Where I think there's a plausible case to be made that it was all a deliberate attempt at destruction.
I could definitely see there being someone higher up making a deliberate attempt at destruction.
Right.
And then just some completely incompetent people who don't actually want to destroy it do end up destroying it. I could definitely see something like that.
Yeah, because it's right. It's you can't really say, for certain, unless you have emails and phone calls between people, but it definitely, and especially with the announcement of Trump, kind of didn't make those theories any less
Would it look any
less
different?
viable?
Right? Would it look any different?
Right. Yeah. Right. Whether it was on purpose or an accident, and would it look any different if it was either way?
I forget the saying. Never ascribe to malevolence what incompetence will explain, or something like that. But
yeah. But
I'm more of a view of the world than a House of Cards view of the world. But I think you can go either way on this. Certainly, I know Bannon was kind of directing money. I think. Well, yeah, I mean that's just in the FEC reports, but I know there was some Bannon plot here. Precisely the contours, we may never know, but was it a let's give Trump another option in case the Republicans take back their party, or was it a let's destroy these people that prevented him from winning a re-election? I don't know.
I think there's malevolence and incompetence involved.
So
why not both.gif?
So someone just messaged, forwarded this thing, I guess, Mr. Rechtenwald or Dr. Rechtenwald. I forget what his doctorate in. I don't think it's I can help you if you're in medical distress doctor. I think it's some other kind of doctor. But
a doctor in blocking on Twitter.
Doctor on blocking on Twitter. It's him apologizing for I don't know. You were saying I didn't see this last night, but I guess he was
I did.
Talking mess.
Yeah, so
speech or something.
So let me explain it a little bit. So he spoke before the Trump speech, then he spoke again after the Trump speech. I believe it was after Chase spoke. After the Trump speech, when he spoke then, he kind of just rambled for a little bit, and it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And then he muttered something about not wanting to be part of a Trump roast, and then just walked off stage. And it was really odd behavior. Now, he explained that as having taken a marijuana edible because he thought he wasn't going to be speaking that night, but then he ended up speaking. But if you look at his speech from before the Trump speech too, it was, I'll see if I can pull it up and see if we can play it on stream, because it was really weird. He was all over the place. He wasn't really making a lot of sense. I know people are saying it's a marijuana thing, and I'm getting into speculation here a bit, but I know it's confirmed that there is. He's written about this in Quillette before, that he did have a prior Adderall problem, and I know there was a whole thing.
The Washington Post reporter that he was on some gummies. I think. That's what he's admitting.
He posted that on Twitter. He's the living embodiment of the "these edibles ain't shit" meme.
Here, I'm gonna see if I can find the clips right here. You guys just keep talking for a little bit.
And John,
it's probably on C-SPAN.
I've run several times at these conventions, and I don't even think I ate anything before the balloting, let alone did stuff like that. I mean, you never know when a voter's going to ask a potential supporter is going to ask you a question that you need to nail and all of that. And, it's just the speech of his life rebutting Donald Trump for the presidential nomination that he supposedly wants. Although, of course, we all know he's going to drop out and endorse Trump if he actually is nominated.
No, it won't be an endorsement. It'll just be, he'll be like, we can't let Biden win.
Trump's a good kid.
I'm here to vouch.
I'm here to vouch for him.
I'm here to vouch for Trump. Yeah.
Maybe he was just trying to cover up that he was crying again. I don't know if you guys have seen that tweet before, where he said that, I think it was a Trump speech from maybe late 2022, and I think it was on Parler or something. It wasn't actually a tweet. But he said he was talking about how Trump just gave a beautiful speech and Rechtenwald was in tears or something like that.
Right. And I looked up the speech, and it was just him rambling about crap in Ohio.
That's what it always is.
And
Like,
more to the point, there's this. I mean, there's always been this strain in politics, not just American politics, but politics generally, of this messiah complex of voters wanting, oh, I just want to like give my all to this person, that the superhuman that we will endow with complete powers and let him fix everything. Obviously, you can think of some names in Europe in the 1940s that fall under that category, but generally we've resisted that in the United States. And I guess I was naive, but I thought for a long time that like the last place that you would ever see that take hold would be the Libertarian Party of the United States. But I was wrong about that.
Okay, so I might have. Oh wait, this is.
Have you ever cried at a Donald Trump speech, Adam?
Okay, I might have found it here.
Okay.
And it's actually.
John, if you just click the share button within the screen that you're on, it'll bring it to me and I can put it up.
The share button within the screen that I'm on?
Yeah, the browser.
Screen share.
Yeah, just do a screen share.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. So I think this is a little bit of a cut up version, but it is. I watched this earlier today, and this is all stuff he said. This is from the pre-speech, or the before Trump speech.
The warm up.
Yeah, and it's shared from Joshua Smith's page, but best I could do. Okay, is it shared? Yeah, let me try to play it. Oops.
What is this music? Is it the best of the public domain, or?
I don't know what the music is.
Is that all it's?
I'm not sure if that's added to the video.
Okay.
But I saw it. At least it goes away at some point once he starts speaking.
Okay.
Like a kazoo.
There it goes. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to extend an olive branch extended from the non-aggression principle. I'd like to make sure everybody has the right to free speech. Everybody.
Sounds out of breath.
I don't want to see a militarized, politicized, dogmatized, and utterly hypnotized secret service, secret security state insanity.
Is he rapping?
With the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and the whole slew of them.
Hi.
I mean, Donald never mind. But listen.
Okay, we'll cut that right there.
Well, Josh didn't win president.
Okay, let me see if
How many
let me
votes
find.
At the highest point, like 70-something?
70-something votes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I have the second one. So here's after.
That's not the one he's apologizing for, right? That one he's like, I nailed that one. It's the other
that
one.
That's the best he's ever done. Okay, let me screen share this one.
Am I being too much? Should I dial it back? All right.
Okay, let me try this one now.
I see the old.
1 second, John. Hold on. Restart it from the beginning. Just a second. There we go. Show on stream. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I think Trump is trying to suggest that, he cut some regulations and so forth. But I would eliminate the entire regulatory regime altogether. Donald Trump says he's for free speech, but he didn't listen to many of our own demands here about the Fed, and he didn't really respond to our plea.
It's true.
Nevertheless, I really think this is getting redundant, and I'm not interested in
That pity
carrying out
clap.
an all-night Donald Trump roast. It's just a little bit boring, and I'm just not. This is not something I want to keep participating in.
Well, I'll keep answering the questions from the press as long as you guys are asking.
Where's your needle? You can opt out.
Yeah, so that's what he was apologizing for.
Well, you know, I guess
Like a
Trump
full
never had
bottle of
a more
Ambien.
devoted fan.
Okay, I'm going to take a look and see if we have any progress on an actual presidential.
Oh wait, I just
nominee.
saw Andy come through. I didn't know
Yep.
Andy was here. When did he get here?
Yep.
Sorry, Andy, I did not have you on stream. Really sorry. Hold on, let me get you
Yeah,
up here.
yeah, he just popped in.
There we go. You are now on.
Nope, I don't think we can hear you.
You're muted, Andy.
Still can't hear
Nope,
you.
we still can't hear you.
1, 2, 3. How's that?
There we go.
There you are.
Got my
Okay,
fancy podcaster microphone to turn on.
There you go.
He was just saying how Karen Ann won fair and square, and the fact that had nothing to do with how she meant it.
I was reminiscing about when the Libertarian presidential candidate had a much higher tolerance for edibles.
Awesome. Oh my
Gosh,
God.
I didn't even think of that.
Hey, Rick, where's Aleppo?
Yeah.
Hey, you try going on Morning Joe at 6 a.m. when you're 8 edibles in and see how.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Is put Gary up against Rick.
Yeah, I don't know what people are going to think of Rechtenwald if he ends up on these cable shows. It's going to be absolute train wreck. It's just so funny that they did this whole takeover thing and they hyped up Dave Smith for so long, and instead you end up with fucking Michael Rechtenwald.
Yeah.
No one even knew who he was. He's a terrible speaker. Yeah, obviously just had what happened last night. I don't know why they're even
It
doing
ended
this.
up being such a weak field. Like if they've still got a Mises majority at this convention. It's a little bit over half, but they've got it.
Well, you saw the results that just came in, right?
Yeah, for chair or for secretary and the other officers.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it was a split result. Some consolation prize dynamics. You'll get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Looks like it's going to come down to Chase versus Rec, is my guess.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know where I'm assuming most of the Mapstead supporters would go to Chase, but I mean, can't say for sure.
Yeah.
It's tough to really suss that out and where that ends up. But I mean, Rec is going to hit a ceiling, and he's got to be close to it. But here comes the results are popping in for what is this, round 4?
Oh, I have a hypothetical to ask. Assume for sake of argument that Rec gets the nomination, but there's no vice president selected, and so it goes to the LNC. Would it be a violation of the NAP to create thousands of email addresses and have them all pretend to be Libertarian Party members and ask for Toad as VP?
I mean, given that Rechtenwald is a nap, I think that kind of balances out at the end.
We have results, and we're going to have to go to round 5. So Rechtenwald,
it's not moving hardly at all.
This was from
a couple points.
This is from Smith's voters.
Lars flat. Yeah, all that changed was Smith being eliminated. Looks like
someone wrote in
picked up most of his. It split between Termott and Rechtenwald.
Yeah, so we're at Rechtenwald around 37%, Chase at 20 or almost 26, Termott at almost 20%, and then Mapstead's at 15.6%. So Mapstead is eliminated. Someone wrote in Mike Shipley. Wasn't expecting that, but
yeah, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
As always, the wonderful kiss of death of picking Larry Sharp as a running
I was
mate.
about to say that. Yeah.
It was funny watching Mises throw him under the bus, though, because he's still on their advisory board, as far as I know. Like, he's listed on their website.
I mean,
well, as you know, John, and Archie and lots of people, eventually it's either you or them.
Yeah,
it gets to that point, and they will sacrifice you each time, and basically like half the opposition at this convention now are Mises people that have been purged from the caucus. It's a very destructive dynamic.
Yeah.
For the record, I was not purged. I quit.
Well, it's the classic, it's the terror and then the reaction. It's the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks, they get in charge and they don't have us to fight anymore, so they turn on each other. I mean, we knew that's how it was going to go.
Right. It's that. I mean, you see that same dynamic in the Republican Party too. You don't say the right thing, or you do the wrong thing, or you're not.
You piss off Trump.
Yeah, you don't kiss the ring good enough, and suddenly you're bad and you're out, and not a real Republican. And it's just it's this constant elimination. I mean, it is. It's just it's self-destructive eventually when it gets there.
Well, libertarians are supposed to be nice to Trump too, according to Dave and Tom and Karen Ann and all them.
That was honestly one of my favorite things about it. Not just that he got booed, but he got booed after Scott Horton and Angela and Karen Ann and Dave Smith had been pleading with people to be nice to him. They even distributed signs to pre-coordinate with his talking points about Ross and everything. But I mean, the only thing the rest of the world noticed or will hear about this convention is everybody enjoying the clips of Trump getting booed, because you don't see that too often.
I mean, of all, I guess, Al, I mean, we get into the Trump speech here I mean, of all the outcomes of that, the entire shit show that was that process. I mean, Angela has more or less said that Trump basically invited himself.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
And then later framed it as an "I invited everybody" kind of thing, and it's like, okay, just unilaterally adding him to the convention like she did, and
shutting down there was you could not make a motion to do anything about it. The LNC could not do anything about it. She just steamrolled anybody who would have tried to, And they reelected her right before going off to boo the Trump rally.
Right, especially
in the comments, somebody's saying the secretary doesn't have ballots for a 5th presidential round. So,
if that's true, that's amazing.
I think there's been a lot of. This is by far the worst time crunch being behind on the agenda the convention's ever had. I mean, they're coming up on at some point this evening. The Hilton's going to kick them out.
Well, we didn't even get through everything in 2020. And remember, we had 2 conventions in 2020 spread over 9 total days. So, people are like, oh, we just need more time. We just need more time. I mean, we went literally 9 days in 2020 and didn't get to everything. I've always been of the goldfish theory that, how goldfish grow to the size of their environment. Libertarians will consume all the time that they're given and then some. So whether the convention's 2 days or 9 days, stuff's not going to get done.
But I think this time there is deliberate running out the clock strategy going on. I'm guessing Mises probably did better on the regions and everything.
They do not want. I'm guessing they do not want the at-large election to happen.
Because, right, exactly. Because that's where all the opposition consolation prizes come, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, with the Donald Trump thing. I mean, I guess it probably, at least in my opinion, the media putting out that he was just relentlessly booed is probably the best result of that situation. I think that ended up turning out fairly well. I know there was some talk is like, oh, do we face our back toward him? Do we boo? What's going to happen? I mean, up until like 2
nobody
days
could have
before
coordinated anything other than just constant booing that was organic.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I figured. One person's going to boo, and then everybody else is going to boo too, and so that was definitely going to be the outcome. It was funny that they had to kick the kick the tourists out to put them in their reserved spots up front.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised Angela came in and actually did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually.
That's what we were all expecting. Is that's going to be their plan. They're going to stuff the room with all the outside MAGA hats coming in. But
and I mean, there were a lot. At least
it was the majority. I'm hearing from the reporters like the libertarians in the room booing were only about a quarter of the room, but they did manage to get all the front row seats. So
yeah.
I mean, I wish she would have put him in front of like the actual convention body, because that would have been something. That would have been relentless.
Couldn't have done that. That was one of the big headaches, and it's why it cost them so much time. Secret Service has to clear and sweep that room hours before they'll let them step in it, so they couldn't have ever done it on the main convention hall.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The Secret Service that failed to confiscate all the rubber chickens.
Yeah, there was at least one that popped up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm trying to see if we have any. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Like if we have any progress.
It's kind of up to Lars to tell his delegates what they should do. And Andy and I were joking about this earlier today, because we've had so many instances where somebody has an opportunity to be a kingmaker, and 100% of the time they have whiffed it and declined to do that.
And what percentage of those times is Larry Sharp involved?
Right. Quite a few of them. Yeah, no, I mean, and I've had a lot of those discussions of like, look, you're not going to make it. This is your key moment of advantage to
cut a deal. I'll tell you, the one person who's ever done it successfully is Wayne Allen Root.
Yeah.
God.
Wow. Oh, geez. How was my first?
That's a name.
That was my first election.
They should have had him as the Trump warm up.
Oh, I forgot about him.
We all try to.
Well,
and meanwhile, Bob Barr is the new president of the NRA, so he's moved on to bigger and better things, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are we right now in this?
I see Spike speaking. I mean, I'm not going to mute it while we're.
He looks mad.
Yeah.
How late do you think they'll go tonight?
I mean, I don't know.
Anybody have any speculation?
When we voted, it was just on index cards.
No, they're still on index cards.
So I don't know what it means that like we don't have a fifth ballot prepared. I mean,
it means Karen Ann didn't get enough index cards from Office Depot.
Yeah.
3x5 index cards for allowable opinion.
Well, I've got index cards in my office. I could run them over.
Yeah, just what a mess.
I know. I've been forbidden from going to the convention, and also because obviously when I was chair, I did a lot of correcting her mistakes and fixing things, and I'm done with that phase of my life.
I did go
in the leaked Miguel, documents.
Yeah,
we saw that that tradition carries on with the current.
I thought it was funny in those documents, like how much Angela was against Karen Ann. It was just constantly shit talking her privately, and Michaela was trying to get Karen Ann removed too.
Yeah,
there's a lot of backstabbing going on in the Mises Caucus.
Oh, even when Whitney was chair, Angela was behind the scenes trying to get rid of Karen Ann because she didn't want to work with her. And then obviously she has to deny all of that now, but what we saw in those documents is like the real truth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She was there in person whipping votes for the removal when it passed.
Yeah, all these people hate each other, but that's what politics is it allows people who hate each other, people who hate each other to work together for a common cause. Back at Berkeley, I learned the definition of politics. I still memorized it. Politics is the process whereby binding value allocations are made on behalf of a collective. I saved that for cocktail parties with the first couple pages of the Canterbury Tales in Middle English.
So I'm looking at the stream chat because I've kind of been ignoring it. And there seems to be a question for Andy here. It says, does Andy have any thoughts on his abandoned ship approach to the party? Considering how close this is going to be, wouldn't it be easier to block out Rechtenwald if there weren't so many quitters?
I mean, if you and your life vest had stayed aboard the Titanic, maybe that would have kept it afloat. It's kind of like... No, nothing I've seen this weekend has at all changed my mind about the value of what it would be to try to stay in or take it back or anything.
And in fact, on Credentials Day, we saw the same dynamic of people who know how bad Mises are, like especially like a lot of the radicals and anarchists, but who will fall just short of actually doing anything about it.
Yeah,
there was a motion
they
to
could have removed Angela.
There was
Yeah, they could have. They had the revolt. They could have removed Angela, but this is exactly what we saw so much of, is that if you're not willing to actually go to the mat and fight to the end against them, that's no point. And even if the presidential race went the other way, even if Angela hadn't been reelected, you're talking about a dysfunctional shambles of an organization that would be still a third Mises. I mean, you still have the New Hampshire party.
Hey, John. For some reason, we just lost sound, so hold on just a second. Okay, I've gotten it back. We're good. Okay, sorry everyone. Hold on. We are having just a little sound. It's going in and out. Let me see if I can fix this.